Technology which transmits sound through beams of light is being used as part of a new installation. The interactive sculpture commemorates 100 years of aviation history at an airfield that was vital to British and American forces during World War II.
It may look like a spaceship, but it's actually based on something a little closer to home. The new art installation is being housed at the Imperial War Museum, Duxford, near Cambridge in England. DX-17 is an interactive sculpture created by BAFTA award-winning artist Nick Ryan to commemorate 100 years of aviation history.
Inside the sculpture are 100 light beams, and these light beams represent 100 memories from Duxford.
You might think it's very modern, but the technology used in DX-17 is based on an invention that is well over 100 years old.
So we've invented a technology based on a technique used by Alexander Graham Bell in 1840 when he invented what he called the photophone. He actually described as being more important than the telephone. The photophone was a device that allowed a light beam to carry sound. We've sort of taken this technology on and built a fully analog circuit which allows us to transmit 100 individual sounds encoded into 100 individual beams of light. And then by carrying a receiver around with you, you can point the receiver in the beam of light and listen to the sound.
Aircraft were being painted with what we eventually called the invasion stripes.
And that sound reveals snippets of human stories over the course of a long and often troubled history. DX-17 sits in a purpose-built space that is almost pitch black, except for the lights of the sculpture. The installation is very different from the historic planes and hangars found in the rest of the museum, making it a unique experience for visitors.
I thought it was quite impressive. I mean, when you come in and it's really dark to start with, you see the shape of there. It's like going into some kind of Star Wars, you know, with the opening scene, and then the technology using these things is quite impressive.
I thought it was really interesting because it was just hearing the lives of real people and what they'd been through, which you don't normally tend to think about, you know, and it was the reality of it. If we were here today and we were those people, it would be quite a frightening experience, actually, a lot of it.
I'm ex-army, and some of the stories that were coming across triggered off memories for me that we did. So I thought it was actually excellent.
Imperial War Museum Duxford is Britain's largest aviation museum. It's set on an airfield that was vital to the British and American war effort during World War II and is still in use. Historic planes from all eras regularly take off here.
The airfield was built in 1917 under the auspices of the Royal Flying Corps, and it was integral to the Battle of Britain. The first operational Spitfires flew from this very airfield, as did famous flying aces such as Douglas Bader. It was handed over to the Americans in the latter stages of the Second World War, and they flew fighter aircraft from here in support of D-Day operations. It continued as a Royal Air Force base until 1961, and in the 1970s was given over to Imperial War Museums and opened daily from 1976. So an amazing history.
And the future of this airfield is far from being up in the air with Spitfires, such as this one still taking off almost 80 years later, proving that with a little reinvention, the sky's the limit for this aviation history museum.